How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your host, Xander. Welcome to This and That, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. Uh, I want to talk to you today about our discussion of feminine versus toxic masculine energy. Right. We're going to make this work today. Okay, so we started a little bit late. We started a lot of it late today. We're starting a lot of it late today because we were supposed to be dealing with the internet problem, and the internet problem didn't get fixed. So, it's an ongoing side story. They were supposed to call me before the show. They didn't call me before the show. They're supposed to be trying to troubleshoot the situation. They're still trying to figure out what's going on why the gateway they set me does not produce internet service. So while we're trying to figure that part out, because I'm like, doesn't produce because it's broke. But they're like, no. We just sent you a new one. Oh, of course, I know. That's the biggest problem. You sent me a broken product to replace my broken product. So how many times are you going to send me a broken product before you send me something else? We're going to figure that part out. But as we continue, I wanted to make sure that you guys know to like and subscribe. Make sure you join the membership. Make sure that you hit that follow me button if you're on TikTok or Twitch. There is a subscription button for the YouTube platform right there in the bottom right corner if you're on TikTok. And then the rest of you guys that are coming in on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, we have a link in the comment section that you guys can utilize to approve the mic, approve the camera, and then come up onto the screen in real time, and then you'll be part of the show. Or you could just stay inside the comment section. If your hair and nails ain't ready, do what you got to do. Much love. You guys over on TikTok side, here we go. We got open it up. You guys are able to request to dive into the show whenever you want to, and then you can also be a part of the conversation in real time. But we're going to have two different windows here because it looks like, as you can see, we've got the picture-in-picture because you are dealing with half of the podcast that's being streamed over there, and the rest of the podcast is being streamed over here. So still trying to figure that situation out. I was just telling everybody as y'all were sliding in about how the internet system isn't working the way we wanted it to work. So while we're trying to get technical support with that, show must go on. So I'm making it work to the best of my ability. And so far it seems to be working because while we might have started the show a little bit late today, still kind of streaming pretty strong. So, which is better than what we were dealing with last month, because last month we had frame changes, drops, frame, all this. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. Low budget, low quality films. You know how like the way Friday was when it first came out. We got to figure it out some kind of way, right? So we want to talk about today. We want to talk about the feminism versus that toxic masculinity, and we're going to be talking about the arguments that are coming in between the two. And one of the things that we deal with, and this is almost like a red pill topic, but not quite as a red pill topic, because you're not going to sit here and come from a one-sided perspective and say, oh, well, it's supposed to be the other one-sided way all the way. Nah, I come from a uniform standpoint, and typically being on a uniform standpoint, the method of my analysis is that whoever is in that position should receive the same benefits, expectations, and requirements, obligations, and duties that anyone else who goes into that exact same position are expected to adhere to. So when we start talking about these concepts, I actually start coming from a universal position where, if women want to be in the position of power, they want to be in the position of control, where they are not being tyrants to their boyfriends because they have that position of power, that position of control, then I'm more supportive than, some of those alpha males or red pill enthusiasts that will say, no, women deserve to only be in a submissive position. That's not true. If you are an alpha boss lady that is paying the cost to be the boss, where you are taking responsibility and taking financial responsibility, and then still loving and respecting and appreciating your man for the other things that he's doing since you're bringing the money in, then yeah, it's all gravy. I have no objections to that. But the objections that I do have is that our expectations of feminine women is completely thrown out the window, and the feminist expectation of a woman is to be overly assertive because women have the right to be multifaceted in gender roles, so they can be masculine when they want to be and be feminine when they want to be, but they decide to be masculine with the man that they chose to be masculine for them, which makes no sense to me, because feminine women are supposed to be as masculine and as assertive as they need to be when they're by themselves, representing themselves. But when they're being represented by the man of choice, they should be able to, instead of selecting a man that makes a bunch of money, select a man that is able to make the choices that she would potentially make in that situation, or at least represent her to the best of his ability, where it effectively represents her in a positive fashion, where she could at least say, well, I wouldn't have done it that way, but I'm satisfied with what you did. That is the goal and the expectation that a woman selecting a man should have, is that if the situation isn't going the way she wants it to go, that her man should be able to make sure that it goes that way. Now, that does not mean that the man is supposed to be a cash cow, and that's the situation we have in the United States. And, you know, everybody's expectations are skewed, and that's when we have the power struggle, because here in the Western culture, the women have been taught generation to generation to be overly masculine. You can take care of yourself. You can do it by yourself. You don't need a man. But then find themselves complaining about the men and devaluing and demoralizing the men because they can't find a partner when they're in their late 30s and early 40s. So some of the things that I've been wondering and questioning is, you know, the uniform expectation of it, because it's never going to be equal. And the reason why it's never going to be equal is because her expectations are not the same as his expectations, meaning that the stuff that she wants, which is money and resources, and the stuff that he wants, which is a companion and helper, are not weighted on the same scale. So how much he helps her is not weighted as to how much she expects him to spend on her, and how much she does for him is not weighted as much as how much she's willing to pay for him. So the fact is that she might want a man to pay the cost to be the boss without actually being the boss, because she still wants to be the boss. But the problem is that a woman cannot say that she is fulfilling her roles and her duties as a woman, as a feminine woman, if her expectations need to be met, but his expectations are allowed to be ignored or excused or dismissed in some way, shape, or form. So I decided to come in on this and really try to iron out the toxicity that is involved in this particular conversation, because I tried going through this with Mr. Pibbs, and he tried to skate the issue, because instead of him having the courage to admit when situation is fucked up, he kind of changes the subject and redirects things, and then kind of skip to Malu into denial, and then starts trying to talk in tongue and recant a lot of his statements. It sounds like a Donald Trump political debate. It's reckless. But the fact is I was like, well, look, if the situation was reversed, if you were in that situation and you were the one that was being treated this way, would it be right? And he said no. All right, fair. If it's not right when it happens to you, then why is it right when you do it to somebody else? So I asked all the ladies that same questions, and haven't really gotten the women do not actually respond outside of trying to say that a man making these statements are misogynistic. So I'm kind of curious today, see how many women actually dive into the show and really talk about this. But it's an open question to the ladies. It's like, think about it, ladies. If you get a man, because I know women say, well, I'm single by choice. Nobody's single by choice. You are not interested in the men that are interested in you, and you could get into a relationship with one of those men and say that you're not single anymore, but you don't want those men. So you're not actually single by choice. You are just not interested in any of the prospects that are in front of you. But if the man that you wanted was interested in you, then you wouldn't be single. So nobody's single by choice. You just have bad choices, which is why you're single. Men are the same way. Men are not single by choice. Men don't qualify for the women that they want, and don't want the women that they qualify for, or they're put in a friend zone with the women that they want that doesn't want them, and their emotional attachment to that woman shuts them down to being open to another woman that might actually fancy them. And even in that situation, the man is not single by choice. He is just not willing to accept rejection from the woman, and he's clinging to the hope that maybe one day, and that maybe one day never occurs. Now, in both scenarios, when I say, stand on your non-negotiable expectations for behavior, you have reasonable expectations for behavior is what you need to be focusing on. And if you're focusing on those reasonable expectations for behavior, then what you're going to get is the ladies are going to get a man that's going to treat her good, not spend a bunch of money on her, because his resources is his resources. He's going to treat her good. He's going to value her. He's going to appreciate her. He's going to respect her. And then her happiness will come from his ability to pay attention to her wants, needs, and some of her reasonable desires. But being able to take you out and spend all this extra money on you. Like, I was looking at some dating platforms earlier today and I thought that shit was hilarious. And I'm going to talk about that before I double back to the guys. I was looking at a dating platform, and you're starting to see it more and more often with the younger generation, but you have on a lot of the ladies' platforms, and they are subconsciously gold diggers, even if they're not outright gold diggers. A lot of the time, it's just dry begging on a profile. One of the profiles that I read out today was it was cute until it got to this part. First of all, she's supposed to be an educated woman. Men don't care about whether or not you're educated. You just have to be competent and capable. But she starts talking about how she's a God-fearing woman. Let's just take God out of the situation, because you don't file your taxes in God we trust. You actually file your taxes to the U.S. government. So, marriage is not just under the eyes of the Lord, because if it was just under the eyes of the Lord, then you would be in your Christian mentality dating and marrying a man that follows the expectations that is written in your Bible if you're a Christian, and whatever the Quran or whatever if you're in one of those other religions. Just think about the fact that if you're claiming to be a God-fearing person and you're going to be doing it the way that Christians and Catholics do it, and you look at Corinthians and you're not treating your man the way the women are supposed to treat their men in Corinthians, and you're not treating your man the way you're supposed to treat people in Exodus, you're going to say that you're a God-fearing person. Let's just get that out of the window. That's not true. That's not. You might be afraid of what happens after you die, but you're not saying that you're going to walk the path of righteousness where you're going to take care of other people selfishly, because if you took care of other people selfishly, one, we wouldn't have homeless people, and two, you wouldn't be looking for a man with money. So you'd be looking for a man that's willing to sacrifice himself for you to keep you safe. You're not looking for a man that's willing to spend all of his riches on you. That's not the same. Now, because again, if you're looking at in those biblical senses, you're looking at the fact that you are not supposed to be idolizing and worshiping stuff, and greed is considered a sin, and so is gluttony. So is lust. So all three of them sins you're not going to be performing. So you're not going to have a massive body count, because you're not going to be adhering to lust. You're not going to be wanting him to spend a bunch of money on you, because you're not going to be adhering to greed. You're not going to have him waste money on lavish stuff, because you're not going to be adhering to gluttony. So and then you're not going to be overly egotistical, and even though you're a 5, swearing up and down that you're a 10, because if you were going down that same path, you would not be dealing with vanity and false senses of pride. So when I looked at the profile and she was like, oh, God-fearing woman, I was like, throw that out the window. And then she gets down to so after she starts talking about her ability to be smart, and then her ability to claim a religion, then she says that there's a lot of stuff about her and she really likes herself, but she didn't say anything about her then. Which was fun, because then she said, well, she's funny and she likes to laugh, which is fine. And then we go down a little bit further in the we go a little bit further down the profile, and she says that she likes to be very active. Okay, cool. And that's where she stops talking about herself. So you like to laugh, you like to play jokes, and you like to be active, and you are smart. That's it. Nowhere in there are you talking about what makes you valuable to a man. Now, you're the thing that she's looking for in a man, God-fearing man, again, out the window. If it's out the window for her, it's out the window for him. She says that outside of the God-fearing man, this is where she starts shooting herself in the foot. The very next thing, she wants a man that likes to travel. Gold digger. Crossed off the list. Gold digger. Why? Because The only reason why you want a man that wants to travel is because you want that man to take you with him. So really, instead of you putting in your profile that you yourself want a man to spend a bunch of money flying you all over the world, you just want a man that already flies himself all over the world, and you want him to spend a little extra money on flying you all over the world with him. Gold digger. And it's indirect, but it gets worse, because then when you go down the platform, she wants a man that's not boring. She wants one that's fun. Well, what is boring? Pretty much a man that's actively going on trips. Then it gets even worse, because she says that she wants a man, and this profile is so hilarious. The next thing that she says is that she wants a man to be very generous and giving. So you want a man to fly you all. If this is a sugar baby profile, you want a man to fly you around the world and spend a bunch of money on you and buy you a bunch of gifts. Gold digger. Then you go even further down on the platform, and this is where she really shoots herself in the foot. She says that she does not want the man to be controlling or jealous. So you want him to spend money to take you all over the world. You want him to buy you a bunch of nice stuff and spend a bunch of money on you, give you a bunch of money, and not tell you anything, not give you any instruction or any direction. And you don't want him to complain if he sees you with other men. Because a man is going to get jealous because of your interactions with another man. A man is going to get jealous because of his observations of your behavior with another man. So when you say that you don't want a man to be controlling, you don't want him to tell you what you should and should not do, and you don't want a man to be to complain about seeing you with other men. That profile gets flushed down the toilet. So we're looking at, this is supposed to be what femininity is supposed to look like, and that's not what femininity is supposed to look like. What femininity is supposed to be looking like is a woman that's looking for a man that's going to dedicate himself to her, to make sure that she's safe, make sure that she's well provided for, because clearly you're going to want somebody to provide for you. But you are saying after that is that you are well capable of following instructions. You're well capable of cooking for the man, cleaning for the man, whatever the basic needs of the man is, rub his belly, whatever you got to do to make the man happy. And then he's going to give you whatever he's got. You're going to give him your undivided attention. You're going to get his undivided attention. You should not have to worry about being jealous, because if you're giving him your undivided attention, he's giving you his undivided attention. You guys should be copacetic with one another. If he's prioritizing you in his life, and then you're prioritizing him in your life, how you doing, Red Voids? Good to see you again. Then you are by default in a situation where you're looking in the wrong direction if you're trying to find another partner. So let me go back and double back on that analogy there. If he's paying attention to you and you're paying attention to him, then you are not looking for anything, because you have what you need, because he's making sure that you got what you need. If he has to make a sacrifice, if all he got is $5 and he's got to buy something that costs 10 to make sure that you got what you need, he'll borrow $5 from somebody so that he can make sure that you have what you need. But if you know that your man needed $20 and all he had was 5, and he went and borrowed 5 so that he could have 10, you would hand him 15 or 20 to make sure that he had the 20 that he needed. Now he's taking that 20 that you gave him so that he could get something for you for 10. He's got 10. He can give that 5 back to that other guy. He's got $5 left in his pocket. And now he can buy you a snack. Y'all looking out for one another. I said this a few months ago, is that if I got $1 and you need 2, I'm gonna go make 3. If you got $1 and you know that I need 3, you go get 5. If I'm giving you the 2 that you need and you're giving me the 3 that I need, neither one of us is going undone. Between the two of us, we damn near got 10. But if we're pooling our money together and we're building ourselves up, you're making sure that I have what I need, and I'm making sure that you have what you need. Now, that is when the women are playing the feminine roles. That's when the women are being more of a helper, especially in a financially constrained relationship, than a situation where the women are dictators. One of the things that we've noticed a lot is that women, more than men, are very tyrannical with their authority. I'm not saying that there aren't abusive men out there. I'm just saying that Typically, when a man is dating a woman and the man gets comfortable with the woman, he allows her to hit on him. He allows her to yell at him. He allows her to talk down to him, disrespect him, especially when he recognizes that he made a mistake. And a mistake is not cheating on her with somebody else. A mistake is not putting the ketchup back in the fridge, or not putting water in a dish in the sink, or not taking the trash out on trash day. A mistake is like, not carrying the groceries in when she came back from the grocery store, or making a mess right after she cleaned up. And, you recognize that you kind of fucked up. There was an important engagement, you forgot about it, and you were working or hanging out with the fellas, but like just honest, like insignificant mistakes kind of stuff, and you'll get cussed out about that. You allow these things to happen. Now, this is where the toxic behavior comes in, because they are women, we allow them to behave this way. But if you stop and think about it, it would not be socially acceptable if a man treated a woman this way. So why is it that the expectation that a feminine woman behaves like an abusive man, and that is supposed to be acceptable? And a feminine woman should be nothing less than the most positive person in your life. The reason why a man identifies a woman as his better half, because all of his flaws are made up for by her actions. So if a man is recognizing that his supposed to be better half is treating him worse than Ike Turner, that's not his better half. His other half maybe, but not his better half. So this is a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde scenario. Then on top of that, we all understand the analogy, happy wife, happy life. Women are tyrannical, because if she's not satisfied, nobody's satisfied. This is why when we had that discussion a few weeks ago, or probably last month sometime, when we talked about how one of the women in the comments on the show was telling us about how, oh, the women are more unhappy than the men, that's why the women leave all the time. No, the women are quitters, that's why they leave all the time. But the men are just as unhappy, if not more than unhappy, than the women, because when the women are happy, the men are not happy. They're just content, because the women are not treating them like shit anymore. But the man isn't happy because his needs aren't being met. But when a woman is not happy, she makes sure that the man is not happy. So 100% of the men that leave a relationship left a relationship because they were unhappy. 70 to 90% of women leave the relationship because they're unsatisfied, not because they're not happy. The man could have been a great guy, but just not what she was hoping for. The man could have had awesome ambitions, but just not what she was expecting. It could have been a guy who originally had the money to spend to pay for the type of lifestyle that she wanted, and then his finances changed, and now he can't provide her with the lifestyle that she wants, and she's unsatisfied with that. And because she's unsatisfied with the life that she has now, she leaves him for a man with more money. So all of these situations occur where the woman is just not satisfied. The man doesn't have to be abusive. The man doesn't have to cheat on her. The man could be working 2 jobs. If he's not making enough money, she is unhappy with that, or not satisfied with that. So, but the fact is that when a woman is not satisfied, when a woman is unsatisfied or unhappy with a scenario, she makes sure that nobody else can be happy in that scenario, which also means that if she's angry and pissed off and frustrated, he's miserable. That's why men say happy wife, happy life, because happy wife, the demon is gone to sleep. Now, if we spin that back to when we start talking about the tyrannical behavior of the alpha boss lady, and we spin that back to the abusive behavior men endure from the women, we have to ask ourselves, well, hold on. I, as a man, there is no saying happy husband, happy life. There's no saying, do what he says or get 2 black eyes. Nothing like that is going on. We just have, if he ain't shit, if he ain't satisfying. You ain't got to be happy. You just got to be satisfied, right? And satisfied is not sexually. Satisfied is meeting your expectations, whatever they are, no matter how unrealistic they can be. So if you want trips around the world and he's getting you trips around the world, you're satisfied. If you want trips around the world and he can't get you to Vegas from Nevada, you're not satisfied. See? So dial it back, fellas. The question is, why is it okay if she's unhappy that instead of her working it out with you so that you guys can both be happy, she will make you feel miserable until you do what she wants? But women call men misogynistic and manipulators because a man negotiates and says, well, look, if you want me to do X, Y, and Z for you, you must do X, Y, and Z for me. Women say, oh, he's grooming her. Sounds like a reasonable negotiation to me. Men are starting to do that now, but some of these guys are doing it in all the worst ways. Like a man will go out, take a woman out on a date, $350 bill. He'll look at the bill, look at the girl, and then ask her if we're going home together tonight or if we're going to sleep together tonight, whatever. Depending on her answer depends on whether or not he's going to cover the check or split the check or leave the whole check with her. Guys, that's not how we're supposed to be behaving. First of all, we're not supposed to be spending money on this hoe in the first place. That's not. First, let's just be real. If you had a good woman, she would be cooking for you at the house so that you would not have to waste money going out to dinner. And if you decided that you wanted to show her appreciation for all of the times that she cooked for you, and you want to give her a night off in the kitchen, and you want to take her out to a fancy dinner, then that $350 check you're paying for regardless of whether or not. Because you're not bringing her there so that you can sleep with her. You're bringing her there to show her that she is important to you, that you respect and appreciate how much she looks out for your empty tummy, and you're going to get her the tiramisu and whatever else that comes at this restaurant and doggy bags and everything like that because you appreciate her. Big difference. But when you're dating and you're taking this trick out to a restaurant and then you're $350, you're charging it to the Underhills, and then you're going to say, oh, well, if you're going to sleep with me, I'll spend this much money. But if you're not going to sleep with me, let's split the check. It's transactional. If you think about the fact that conditionally the reason why you're the reason why you're paying is because you're going to get laid later, you might as well just skip the dinner and say, well, if I gave you $350, would you put out? Because you should not hold the woman over a barrel and say conditionally, I'm going to take you to dinner and conditionally we're going to hook up later or you're going to pay for everything you asked for. But you're bringing her there under the false pretense that you're probably going to pay. First of all, look, first person accountability, the ladies are setting themselves up at the same time because you're going to a expensive dinner with this man. You're going to order a lot of stuff on this menu thinking that he's going to pay for it. You should not have that mentality. A selfless person should be thinking, he's bringing me here. I'm going to cover myself or I'm going to cover him and myself. And then depending on how much money you brought, you should be first person willing to cover the check. So he should not have to ask you, am I getting laid later? You should be able to say, well, I don't have $350, but I got $175. I'll put $175 on it. I think I might have $20 for the tip. Do you have the other half? That's how you show responsibility. Then I'm gonna dial back to the men. For the fellas, we're supposed to have a lot more decorum. So happy wife, happy life is not a model that we're supposed to stand by. We're not supposed to allow ourselves to be psychologically and emotionally manipulated or abused. Women are not propositioning us and saying, well, I've seen it on social media. I was talking to y'all about yesterday when the lady asked the dude, how much would you pay for one night with her? And the truth is that that's the most legitimate and reasonable question to ask, though that woman is low valued and low class woman. It was a very transactional question to ask. I didn't agree with it yesterday. I don't agree with it today, but it is a more fair and accurate proposition than, oh, take me out to eat, surprise me, spoil me. I'm not trying to entertain you. Got no time for that shit. I want to make sure that I've got somebody that I can count on, that I can trust, like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You're looking at what was that movie? John Hancock, when him and his wife they fought together and they had to stay separated, but they always loved each other. Like, you've got to be able to have somebody that's got your back when times is tough. They've got to know how to improvise when situations get hard. They've got to know what you would expect them to do without you having to tell it to them when y'all lose communication with one another. Think about all of those movies where the family got taken hostage and the husband and wife could not communicate with one another, but they knew how to play off of each other's behaviors and mannerisms. You got to know, if the shit gets thick and y'all don't have enough time to negotiate how y'all are going to handle this, that you're going to follow his lead. You're going to play off of whatever he's got to do. He might take a bullet for you, but then you're going to gun down everybody else because he took that shot for you. You've got to be able to regulate right after that. The fact is that if you don't have a helper, if you don't have a partner, if you don't have a team player, if we're getting pulled over and I'm going to take your ticket, you should be willing to go to court and be like, nah, it wasn't him, it was me. Confuse the judge, get the case thrown out because they got the wrong person. You've got to be able to if you guys are out there on the side of the road and you're trying to get the gas for the car or whatever, if he's out there trying to pump the gas, you're trying to get somebody to bring the gas. Work with him. Don't just tell him what to do. Now, fellas, we have to be able to make sure that when we're looking at these women that we're paying attention to, are these women the kind of women that will aid us in our objectives? Instead of getting that woman whose profile says that she wants a man to spend a bunch of money on her and take her all over the world, we need to find a woman that says, I cook, I clean, and I will cater to your every need in her profile. Then, oh yeah, that's a keeper right there. First 2 or 3 dates, let's see where she's going. If she's going into the kitchen and she's baking a cake and making dinner, she won. I'll take her out to Ruby's after that because she earned it. But when you're dealing with ones that their profile is selfish, they're in it for themselves. They're not saying what they will do for him, but they're only saying what they want him to do for her. A man is going to be able to say in his profile that what kind of woman he's looking for and what kind of man that he is. He's kind of man that's looking for a family, so he's going to be taking care of his woman. He's going to take care of her basic needs. He's going to try to do a little extra for her. If he's loving and caring and compassionate, then he's going to be giving her the emotional and physical validations that she needs. And then all he's looking for is a partner. And a partner is just like WWE, when you tag somebody in and they get in and fight the fight while you catch your breath. A partner is like Goose and Maverick on Top Gun, somebody who's going to get into the dogfight with you and back you up when you go down. And the partner aspect of things is misconstrued. So back to those scenarios where the guys are taking these girls places and then saying, oh, are we going to do X, Y, and Z? I've seen a guy who took a girl to the airport or took a girl on a trip. And then because she didn't want to sleep with him, he canceled her flight. And she's like, oh, well, how are you going to do that? Well, no, you're going to, if you're not putting out, you're going to pay for yourself. So he's at the airport and they're not at their home state or home country. And he's at the airport canceling her flight where hostage held is you must produce in order for you to get a trip back to the house or you're going to be stuck here. I mean, the rope-a-dope is there, but I don't think that that's a positive mentality to have as men. As men, we should not be taken. I understand. I know I said it on the show that if you're doing a last hurrah from the friend zone, that if this girl gives you shit, that you leave her there. But you're talking about, are we going to have a committed relationship or am I done and I'm going to leave and never come back kind of situation? Not, oh, I'm going to pick up this girl. I'm going to fly her to Brazil. And then while we're in Brazil, it's like, oh, well, if I don't smash, then I'm not flying you back to America. That is a horrible behavior to have. And that's not a good husband or a boyfriend, because if he's going to control the situation like that, then, Every time you get in the car and go somewhere with him, you're not guaranteed to make it back, because if he doesn't like what's happening, he's not gonna bring you back. But truth is, though, like I said, on the other hand, you've got to know what kind of person that you're selecting. You should not be selecting a person that's in it for themselves. They should be in it for you, but you should be in it for them, which is one of the reasons why you can go to places like Romania and the Philippines and find you a partner that will dedicate themselves to you, a person that will rebuild your car for you so that you don't have to pay a mechanic, a person that will rebuild your washer and dryer so that you don't got to buy a new washer and dryer, a person that will buy a bunch of money or buy a bunch of food with the money instead of buying a bunch of makeup with the bill money. You know, the kind of woman that will save money on service repair people and then put more money into the food that's going into the house. You're eating better, more fulfilling meals instead of scraping the bottom of the barrel. And we just looked at, we were doing the math over the past 6 months, and like, you can live a really good middle class lifestyle for $1,000 a month. But if you want to live lavishly, where you're throwing money around on a regular basis, $2,500 a month in the Philippines is like living rich. $2,500 a month in California and Florida, you're sleeping on the sidewalk unless you have like 2 or 3 roommates. You're sleeping on a sidewalk with $2,500 a month in your pocket because you can't afford a hotel, you can't afford an apartment or a loft, you can't afford transportation, you can't afford a car. So you got to think about it. If you can go to a third world country, this is why I tell men, guys, if you can go to a third world country and you can get yours from somewhere else, go get yours from somewhere else, because not only are they going to treat you better over there, they're also the standard of living is also going to be better over there. So you don't have to give up your citizenship. You can get you a 90-day. You can fly out there. If you go over there on business, like I told y'all about when I told y'all about getting your C corporations, if you go there on business, you might be able to get it like a year. Because if you go in there on business, you're going to set up and establish a foreign domestic company over there. While you're over there establishing your foreign domestic company, you're living off of the standard of living that they have in their country. And all you got to do inside of the first like 2 weeks that you're there, get in touch with the embassy and get your LLCs and C. I would do C corporations, not LLCs. I would get the C corporations established over there. Get some foreign banks over there so that you can wire money back and forth, so that the CIA and the FBI is not stealing your money out of your bank account. I mean, out of your pocket, because if you fly with $40,000 in cash, they'll steal it and then say, drug money. Ain't nobody trafficking no dang drug money in cash no more. They wiring Bitcoin back and forth on the dark web. Ain't nobody stealing nobody's got $40,000, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 wrapped up in cellophane and hidden in the trunk of the car where they're traveling across country with 40 grand worth of money in their pocket. Nobody's doing that. The police are just able to steal your stuff because they are above the law in the United States, where the law is primarily corrupt. Now, to prevent that, you travel with cashier's checks. So if you're going to have $40,000 with you, you're going to have a $40,000 cashier's check that you're going to fly to another country, deposit it into a bank account over there, and withdraw $2,000 or $3,000 out of that, so that you don't have to worry. You know, if you're flying from one side of the country to the next, you're not driving. You're going straight to the bank. From whatever transaction puts 50 grand in your pocket, you're going straight to the fucking bank. And you really want to have a transaction where 40, 50 grand is involved. You really want to have that transaction be a wire transfer. And you can pay for the wire transfer fee. If you're getting paid 50 grand, you could be 49 grand and some change because you had to pay the $65 or the $15 wire transfer fee to receive the money. Makes no difference. But it makes absolutely no sense for you to drive around with 40, 50 grand when somebody can point and click on their cell phone and wire transfer money, and then have ATF and CIA, FBI, and the local sheriff's department, especially Officer Tenpenny and Officer Dudley, who can come over there and bust out your tail light and then search your car and put you in jail and bring the dogs out, and they done took a bunch of cash out of your back seat and swear to God, he was trafficking. Ain't nothing up in the car but you and a bag of Skittles, and now all of a sudden you're on America's Most Wanted list. So no, you shouldn't be doing all that. But if you fly over there to one of those other countries and you start up a business, you're able to interact with the women that's over there, and you will find more feminine women, because the women are going to be catering to the men. And that's what the show's about today, is finding the women that are more catering to the men. Because why do we have women, first of all, that are telling us what to do? So you fly into another country, you're getting a woman that's going to be catering to a man. She's going to be kind-hearted and generous. She's going to show you her worth before you start spending your money on her, which is going to convince you and compel you to be able to add her to your team, add her to your roster. You're going to set up your business out there. Now you're flying back and forth with nothing on you, because everything gets wire transferred over and you buy as you go. Perfectly. If you're going to bring 1 or 2 suits and a carry-on, that's it. And then everything else you buy while you're out there. And your wire transfer money before you get out there, and wire transfer money before you come back, you don't have to take anything with you, really. If you're going to go out there, because like in the Philippines, you can actually do 25-year leases and 25, 30-year leases. If you did a 25 or 30-year lease and you at least paid for the next 2 years so that you'd be good until you come back, that's like a timeshare. When you come back, you all the clothes that you bought when you're out there still out there. So you don't have to buy anything new when you leave. You don't have to get a bunch of suitcases and luggage when you fly, because all you got to do is just put yourself on a plane and fly out there, and put yourself on a plane and fly back, because your money is there making money for you while you're in that country, and then your money's making money for you while you're not in that country, and then you're in the United States, and your money's making money in multiple countries. Now, back to what I was saying about these overly masculine women. I've noticed it is okay for a woman to make the first move. Tell a man that she's attracted to him, ask him for his phone number, ask him for his name, ask him if they can go out sometime. That's fine. Respectful. But I've noticed, and it's probably because of anxiety, that because women are not used to approaching men, that they will walk up and start bossing people around. Like, who are you? Take that hat off. Speak to me. Answer my questions. Da 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 da. Oh, what is it? Am I too much? Yes. Yes. You do not walk into a building and tell the boss how to run the company. You're not going to walk into this relationship and tell the man how to be a man. If he's not satisfactory to you as a man, you walk away. But if this is the man that you want, you're not going to tell him what to do. You're going to ask him what you want. What does he want you to do, so that you can make him happy? Because truth is that the majority of women want the same thing. And women know it, but men know this. And because men know what the majority of women want, all the men strive for it. Because if the woman isn't satisfied, the man isn't an option. So since all the men are striving for it, the thing is that the man is walking into this relationship with the mentality of acceptance, because whatever it is that she's looking for, he's aiming to get it. Then when men get with the woman, the next thing that you're going to see is the men are going to be asking her all the time, what would you like to do? Where would you like to go? What is your favorite this? What is your favorite that? Which would you prefer? To the magnitude that some women feel like, oh, you should just make decisions. But he's asking you, how do you want me to do this? How do you want me to treat you? How do you want, what is your personal preferences on a regular basis, until he understands and remembers and is able to incorporate and enforce these things. Now, difference, women are not going to do that. The women might ask you what some of your hobbies are and what some of your likes and dislikes are, to see if your interests are the same as hers. But after that, she don't give two shits. You're not going to go to a restaurant. She's going to ask you what you like. She's not going to go to Subway and ask her, how do you want your Subway sandwich? She's going to tell them what she wants. Then she's going to look back at you and ask you if you want anything, if you're lucky. Women are not designed to put the man first. The women that you notice that have a history of taking good care of their men are the kind of women that are typically doing for you what the other man told her to do. You get your girlfriend. Think about this, fellas. If your girlfriend wants to make you a sandwich, she's going to cook you something to eat. If you did not tell her what your favorite food was, what food is she cooking for you? Food that she thinks men like. What man told her that that is food that men like? The ex-boyfriend. Some situations it might be the father or the uncle, but more often than not, the ex-boyfriend. Unless she was taking care of her younger siblings growing up where her brothers were telling her what to do. But truth be told, more often than not, especially here in America, if a girl makes you a sandwich, you're hungry, she's going to make you a sandwich, she brings you food. Oh, it's good. She knows it's good because the last 2 or 3 boyfriends that she's dated like the way she made that sandwich, because one of them was the first one to tell her that this is what he likes, and he can attest that most men would like the sandwich made this way. And then when she's going to try it with the next man, and when she confirms that more than one man likes the sandwich made this way, and the men who have not experienced it that way will not object to it that way because it's new and she made it for him, now she's making the sandwich the same way every time. But a woman who wants to please her man and satisfy her man is going to, if a man says that he's hungry, well, what would you like to eat? What would you like for me to make you? What do you have a taste for? But men are standard though, which means that if he tells you that he likes eating hot food, more often than not, he doesn't care what kind of food it is as long as it's not cold. So you're not going to make him a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You're not going to make him a bologna sandwich. You're going to make him something that's got some steam coming up off of it, because you understand that whatever he eats, if he's not a picky eater, whatever he eats got to have some smoke coming off of it. It's got to be hot because he wants hot food. If you're talking to a man and you ask him what does he like, and he says that he likes meat, he might be more carnivorous than most. Every time you see him eat something, there's got meat in it. You're not going to give him a salad. You're going to give him a steak, some pork chops, ham hocks, collard greens with turkey necks in it. You're going to be everything that you cook, you're going to be throwing meat in it because you know that he prefers meat in his food. Men are basic, simple like that. You're not going to have a man say that I'm hungry, but I don't want fast food, but I want Chick-fil-A. You're not going to get that. If a man wants Chick-fil-A, a man's going to tell you he wants Chick-fil-A. If a man wants Chipotle, he's going to tell you he wants Chipotle. If a man wants tacos, he's going to tell you he wants tacos. Now, whether it's Taco Bell, Mexican taco, taco bus, or you make tacos, it don't matter. If he wants tacos, he wants tacos. Men are specific. But if you take a man out to eat and pay for it, and ladies, you ask that man what he wants, or let the waitress ask that man what he wants. Let him order for himself. Take him out a second or third time. Let him order for himself. Guarantee you he's going to ask for the same thing every time. Not going to change. You have men that have a diverse portfolio of preferences when it comes to food, but that diversity is going to be 2 or 3 items because he's been going there for years. You take him to the same restaurant 3 times. He's only been to this restaurant 3 times. He's going to order the same thing all 3 times. Unless the first time he ate it, he didn't like it, he'll try something different. But if he liked it the first time, he's going to order it again the second time. He's going to order it again the third time. And you know what you cook when you bring him back to the house? The exact same fucking thing. Because you know what he wants. Because that's what he asked the waitress for. Men are easy. But women do not understand that you have to be a partner and a helper to a man. So the femininity that we're missing out on is that the women are not paying attention to the needs of the man. And that forces the men to tell the women what the men need. That's going to force the women to have to do what they're told. Because in order for you to satisfy your man and make your man happy, you have to do what he tells you will make him happy. What will relieve his stress? What will take confusion and chaos out of his situation? If he wasn't paying attention to it, he's got to tell it to you. A woman that likes to write A man sees her writing in his book on a regular basis. He knows that he talks to her about it. She says she likes to write. He's going to keep it in his mind that when he gets her a gift, he's going to get her a custom made journal so that she can write in his book that reminds her of all of the best parts about him. A woman that plays a musical instrument, he'll either buy a new musical instrument for her or he'll buy maintenance equipment for a new instrument. A woman that knows that her man really likes cars and he works on cars on a regular basis would find an upgrade for his car that his car doesn't already have and give it to him because you pay attention to the shit that he likes. You've got a boyfriend that plays video games on a regular basis. Pre-order GTA 6. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. If he's been telling you, oh, I've been waiting on the next Red Dead Redemption to come out, pre-order Red Dead Redemption. So when it comes out, he's got the release. He's got the first release off the shelf if possible. That's how you pay attention to your man. But from a feminine perspective, if you are doing what it takes to keep your man happy, keep him fed, keep him well clothed, and bring peace to his mindset, now he can clear his mind. He can start thinking about how to work through tomorrow's problems so that when he gets his rest, he's going to get up in the morning and he's going to go out there and he's going to tackle all of the stuff that he needs to tackle so that you don't have to deal with that stress. And that's why we say that the problem that we're having here is the toxic masculinity from the women, because they feel like catering to their man is oppressive because they feel like they cannot be subordinate or submissive when that is the full definition of femininity. Feminism is not supposed to be about women being equally in charge of shit. Because a feminine man is not in charge of shit. Women don't want a man to be feminine. Equality means that a man can be equally feminine to a woman, but a woman is not going to accept that. A man has to be masculine 100% of the time, but the woman can be feminine when she wants free shit, but the woman is going to be masculine when she wants control. So as men, we have to put a stop to that and say that I'm going to be masculine all of the time, which means that he's going to have to end up being alphally aggressive because you're going to have to say no means no. And if I tell you don't put that outfit on and walk outside of the house, when you walk outside of the house, I change the locks. You don't come back in. Because I told you that if you walk out of the house looking like that you're not coming back in my house looking like that. You're not going places with me. So I'm not even going to take you with me. But if you walk out of the house, you left and you abandon all your shit. You're going to have to come back with a warrant. Come and get your shit. You're not coming back in this house because you're not looking like that. But fellas, we have to change our mentality and our expectations as to what type of woman we're going to be looking at. So we have to make sure that we're picking the right woman that is going to carry herself conservatively. Notice, every day on the show, you see me come in, I've got some type of suit on, I've got some kind of dress casual. You don't never see me with a wife beater on. You don't never see me with a throwback jersey on. You don't never see me looking like somebody from Boys in the Hood. Always dress casual or suited up. 7 days a week. Looking for a woman with class. She is going to be conservative 7 days a week. She's never going to have a dress or skirt that is shorter than her wrist. You're not going to have her way down here kind of situation where you can almost see her crotch if you look in the right horizon. My girl's not dressing like that. She's not going to be overly exposed in cleavage. My girl's not going to dress like that. She's not going to be wearing 6-inch hooker heels. My girl's not going to dress like that. 2 to 3 inches at the most. At 5'2" or 4'11". Forget a girl that's 6'5" or 6'7". You'll wear some sneakers, but or some dress casual flats. But 6-inch heels and you're already tall makes no sense. And then gonna say, he's got to be taller than me. Well, take the fucking heels off. He'll at least be your height. You might have to look up a little bit. But no, we're not having situations where, I've got to break my neck looking up because you put on stilts. Because the heels are artificially designed to make women look taller and define their calves. Define So forcing a woman to walk on her toes brings definition to the calves. And bringing definitions to the calves leaves a level of attractiveness, which is in line with the false sense of fertility, which allows men to be more sexually attracted to the woman because she has attractive legs. Look, you can have attractive legs by utilizing a proper gym membership or tilling the fields in my backyard. And either way it goes, you will be able to get those calves and still be attractive, because there is nothing sexier than a woman that could turn my farm into a profit. Lemonade tycoon. I'm going to tell you right now, there is nothing more attractive than a woman that makes a man money. Because no matter how attractive you are not considered cute when you're spending all the money I just made. Nothing cute about it. Even no matter how attractive you are, the more money you're spending from that guy, the more this guy is getting frustrated, the more his eyes are rolling into the back of his head with anger, but he's smiling at you and he's not happy right now. The only thing going through his mind is that I'm getting laid off for this. That's it. That's the only thing going through his mind. I'm spending all this money, but I'm gonna get laid off of this. Now, the truth of the matter is that shouldn't be going through his mind, and she shouldn't be spending all that damn money. So, like I said, the more effective and the more attractive women are the ones that are willing to invest in him and do the shit that he needs her to do so that he can be more successful in providing for her. And then on top of that, if he's got a partner, if you start up a business, I told you about all those C corporations. If you got a girl that knows us, they want to be smart, right? Women want to be smart, but one woman was in tech. That was great. Closest thing to being a genius that I could find with women getting humanities jobs. But if you really wanted to be smart, tax agent, investor, where you're actually turning a profit for the sake of your boyfriend or your husband, Wall Street enthusiast, where you look 6, 7, 800 trades with a 80% positive return rate. Like, that is the kind of knowledge that a man is going to say, okay, I can get with this. If you're good at drop shipping, if you're good at buying wholesale and reselling at market value, or upselling retail value at a discount where you're still turning a profit or something like that, that is the kind of knowledge that a man can say, okay, I can fuck with that. But saying that you're smart because you've got 2 PhDs and a bachelor's degree in humanities, where your education is in line with you helping people and taking care of people, and then you're going to come home and you're not going to help and take care of your boyfriend or your husband, you're not even utilizing your degree to support your relationship. The fuck you go to college for? You can't go to college to be a nurse, and then your husband gets sick and your husband's got to go to another nurse so that nurse can take care of him because his wife doesn't want to do it. You can't tell me that you went to college to be a teacher and your husband has to pay a tutor to teach the kids. Well, why are you a teacher but you can't teach your own children? You know, a man can't say that, oh, it's positive that a woman went and got a degree for a business major and she's not saving any money. She's spending it all. How do you handle a company's bottom line if you're redlining my company? So this is one of the reasons why we say men don't really give a shit about a woman's intelligence. We don't, because we want that helper to fill in the blanks. We kind of got most of it. We just need her to get the rest of it. And one of the issues that we have is that a lot of the times the women aren't okay with picking up the slack when slack exists. Now, the one of the other issues that we're going to have with these arguments is that women are going to want to be in charge and they're going to want to tell you what to do. And as men, we typically try to navigate ourselves out of these arguments by trying to satisfy the woman's desire so that she'll shut the fuck up. It is actually, honest to God, not necessary. You do not need to do an unconditional surrender with these feminine toxic masculinity type arguments and say, okay, you win, I'm wrong, you're right. What do you want me to do to make it up to you? No, because manipulation tactics will dictate that a narcissistic person, male or female, will deliberately cause chaos so that it could look like they're fixing the chaos so that you can feel indebted to them. You're going to also feel like it was your fault. And then you're also going to try to make it up to them. And that's going to mean that you're going to try 2 to 10 times harder to satisfy a person that doesn't deserve that type of treatment. So it is in no one's best interest to be succeeding in a debate or open forum discussion, renegotiating terms, which is why we said yesterday, it's great to have a relationship topic. You have everything written down, your expectations in this relationship, her expectations in this relationship, anything that y'all both have a mutual expectation in, you put that in the final draft. And then anything that you have that's different from her, y'all negotiate as to which one of y'all stuff is going to go in there. It's not going to be all hers. It's not going to be all yours, but some of what she wants and some of what you want is going to go in there, and both of y'all is going to make sure that 100% of this contract is fulfilled. And then you revisit it every year. That's how you're able to make it work. But you cannot tell me that, in an actual argument where you fail to do this particular step that I'm telling you about, and she's unsatisfied, you're unsatisfied, she's unhappy, you're unhappy, and you're going to succeed so that you can just stop the argument, and you're going to do whatever it is that she wants. No, that's not going to work out. Likewise, in a situation where the man is not satisfied with the discussion and the woman has to succeed in order to satisfy the man, that's also not optional. You know, both of you have to put forth the interest of the other person. But when you're negotiating, you're doing a problem-solving negotiation, not just the you fucked up or I fucked up argument where we're just talking about who fucked up and why, and just don't do it anymore. Just don't make mistakes. That's like saying don't be human. We make mistakes on a regular basis, and sometimes we make the same mistake multiple times. So, just like a person who's trying to quit still has 2 or 3 packs of cigarettes because they're trying to quit. They didn't quit. They go on vacation. You stop smoking for 2 or 3 months, and then as soon as you have a bad day, you're smoking again. It's a tangled web we weave. It's a conflict of interest, I know, but the truth of the matter is that is the way things are as human beings. We are not infallible. We are the kinds of individuals that will make mistakes. And since we will make mistakes, if we're dealing with an argument from our spouse, we have to recognize where we made our mistakes, first person accountability. There's never a scenario where she does not make a mistake and he is the only one making the mistake. And there's never a situation where he does not make a mistake and she is the only one making a mistake. It just so happens that you caught it this time and she caught it last time. Sometimes you fuck up and she didn't catch it. Sometimes she fucked up and you didn't catch it. Doesn't mean you didn't fuck up. It just means that the other person doesn't know about it. Now, if you don't want an argument, you're not going to go over there and tell your spouse that you fucked up so that they can cuss you out about it. But when you recognize that you made a mistake in a relationship, even if you fix it before it negatively impacts the other person, when they make a mistake that you catch, you recognize that you've already fucked up a couple times in this relationship and they just didn't notice it or just didn't say anything about it. Because there are situations where your spouse could realize that you fucked up and realize that you're fixing it and not say anything about it, because why bitch about spilled milk when you're already cleaning it up? But when you're in an argument or a debate or a discussion, when one or both of you are completely unsatisfied with what's going on, negotiating how to get through that scenario and what to do in the future if a similar scenario was to arise, that is when you're doing problem solving. So it's not just you fucked up or I fucked up. What we're discussing in these particular types of discussions is what can we do to prevent this error from happening again. I talked about this before and used the example of the gas not being in the car, but let's use an example of not having enough food in the fridge. What about that box of cereal that has 2 spoons left in the whole box because you didn't want to empty the box of cereal, but you're not saving a full bowl of cereal in it? You might as well take the rest of it. A cup of milk, a gallon of milk with half a cup of milk in the gallon, just a little swig. Like if you take the top off and you pour it, that much time the bottle is already empty. that 2 seconds to do this, the bottle is already in. You're never supposed to leave that much milk in the fridge. You just finish it. Just finish it. Even if you got to fill your cup and then chug the rest, just finish it. Like, why leave a swig in the bottom of the container? But some people do that. So if that turns out to be a problem, it's like, bro, you're misrepresenting the quantity of groceries that we have in the house because you're leaving full packages empty in the place of full packages. If you was to remove full packages, like what I usually do, when the cereal gets down to about 25%, I take the cereal out of the box and leave just the bag up there so that you can see that there's 25% left. Because there isn't a whole box of cereal up there, I order the same brand that just has bags up there. So if I've got Cheerios, Fruit Loops, and Lucky Charms up there, and I got 3 bags of cereal that's just bags, no box, I'm going to go buy those exact same 3 boxes. You got milk, I'm going to drink the milk. If it's just a half a cup of milk left, I'm going to drink the milk and order milk. Typically, if I'm more than 25% done with that bottle, probably going to go buy another bottle already. I'll buy 2 bottles of ketchup, get down to half a bottle of ketchup. I'm looking to buy 2 more. You know, I try my best to not run out of stuff. And since I'm more than one person in the house, because you're sharing it with your spouse, you want to make sure that there's 2 of everything in there, because if you use it a lot, you want to still make sure that there's enough in there for your partner to get some. If you love Kool-Aid to the point where you're drinking 2 gallons or 3 gallons of Kool-Aid a day, you might want to make 4 gallons of Kool-Aid. Or make 2 gallons of Kool-Aid at a time, where when you drink 1 gallon, you start making another gallon so that she's got some. You might be able to save her favorite drink and drink 3/4 of it and save her 1/4 of it, and then you go drink the other one. But you're always supposed to make sure that there's enough in there for the other person. If you buy a pack of hot dogs, you leave them 3. And a pack can be anywhere between 8 and 24. If you ate 5 out of the 8, you leave them 3. That's how you're able to, you're not giving them half, but you're definitely leaving them enough for them to say that they got some. You don't buy a pack of hot dogs and leave your partner with 1. People normally eat hot dogs in pairs. See what I'm saying? So grilled cheeses typically come in pairs. I don't know about y'all. I do at least 2 to 4 grilled cheeses. So if I'm making grilled cheese, I'm going to give you 2 to 4. So if I'm going to get 2 to 4 and you're going to get 2 to 4, I'm going to make 4 to 8. And then if I eat 5, I'm going to try to leave 2 or 3 of them there, because I know that you're going to eat at least 2. You're thinking about the other person with that type of mindset. You both like the same ice cream, you buy 3. Because you're going to eat 1, she's going to eat 1, and the 2 of you are going to share 1. Ain't nobody thought about that. Typically, we think, oh, well, I'm going to get 1 for me and I'm going to get 1 for her. Y'all are going to share 1. So you get 1 for yourself. You get 1 for her. When the one that you open for yourself is gone, you go buy yourself another one. The one that you share with her, you open that one, and every time you get some out, you get her some out. That's 2 different containers. Then there's a 3rd one in the back for her. And reason being is because once y'all finish this first one that you're sharing, you're probably going to crack open that other one, because if you really like the same ice cream that she likes, you're going to be eating 1.5 containers of ice cream every time. And you want to make sure until you get to the store to go get a replacement that there's still 1 in the back for her. Now, ladies, if your mentality is switched up and thinking the same way, you're not spending money thinking that, oh, well, I'm going to do this and this and make sure that my hair and my nails done and I look cute. I look cute. You should be thinking, well, fuck, my man needs some shoes. My man needs socks. My man, I want him to get rid of them boxes with a hole in it. You know, I want him to get rid of that T-shirt with the rip in it. You know, I want to, like, instead of thinking about yourself, you say, well, shit, if I'm going to take 20% of his income and go shopping every day, out of every 5 items that I buy him, 2 of them should be for him. That way, you're not going to the store and just throwing money away on yourself. See, men wouldn't complain about women going shopping all the time if women was going shopping for the whole fucking family. But you done bought $3,000 worth of shit off of Amazon and ain't nobody got shit. I ain't got shit. The kids ain't got shit. The dogs ain't got nothing. Like, what the hell was you at the stove for? All that money you done spent. But if you're out there taking care of your partner, then it's money well spent because you're taking care of the whole household. You're taking care of the whole family. So this is one of the reasons why we say that the difference between the feminine mindset, where the women are looking out for the whole family and not being selfish, versus the toxic masculinity that we get from women, where they feel like, one, you can't tell them what to do, and two, you better not complain about what they chose to do. That's not going to fly with us, because any man that is you're living in a chaotic house, even if you're not arguing. And you know why you're living in a chaotic house, even if you're not arguing? Because as a man, most men count their money before they got their check. Most men do it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Red Boy. You're looking at how many hours that you worked. You're looking at how much money that you're getting paid. You're looking at how much overtime that you got. And you're estimating how much taxes they're going to take out of your check based on the amount of hours that you have. You might overstate the taxes so that your overstatement will be estimating a lower amount than what your check is actually going to be. Then you're going to plan on what bills you're going to pay with that check before that check gets here. You know what day that the check's going to drop if you're doing direct deposit, or if you have to cash a check. If you don't have direct deposit set up, you know how long it takes for that money to clear. So you know which bills you got to catch first. You know which bills you're going to catch next. So you already have this mapped out. You know how much money is going to be left over. And then your girlfriend's going to take more than what you thought she was going to take out of the money. She's going to buy shit that you don't need because she wants it. And now your budget that you planned on taking care of shit with last week shot to hell this week. Now you got to go get extra money. You got to try to find ways to cover the bills that you wasn't expecting to try to cover. And these are the shits that makes your life extremely chaotic and extremely stressful. So you don't need to be in a relationship with a female that's cursing you out and poking you in the back of the head and challenging your masculinity. You can have one that's very sweet and very kind-hearted and not generous at all. It's just extremely selfish and likes to go shopping and doesn't buy shit for you, doesn't pay attention to your budget, and you will still be dealing with the chaotic lifestyle. She would not be kicking off shit with you, but every time she takes a light bill money and go and get her hair done, you're fucking pissed off because now you got to go short term and go try to find out where to get the money from to go cover the light bill. See, the ladies don't think about these things. They say, well, the man is supposed to know these things and the man is supposed to figure it out and the man is supposed to have all of it together. Well, yes, but if I budgeted it that I was going to pay all the bills first and then take the change and then let you use the change to go and take care of yourself, that means that the lights, water, cable bill, car insurance, phone bills, everything got to get paid for, gas put into the cars, groceries got to get bought, and then whatever money is left over, you can take that and go spend it. If you took $300 off the top so that you could go shopping, what happens if the money runs out before all the bills get paid? Or what happens if I put all the money on the bills and now we don't got money for groceries, but your hair is done? Your hair looks nice for 2 to 3 weeks, but there's no food in the fridge for the next 3 weeks. So if, as women, if you're budgeting this situation where you're making sure, this is why we said women should lead from the rear. If you're making sure that the household is taken care of, because instead of being overly masculine and wanting to dominate the scenario in the front and wanting to be the boss and the captain and the leader of the army in the front lines, where you can puff your chest out and say, I run this. Why can't you be the more sophisticated and classy feminine woman that leads from the rear? I told y'all before, on the chessboard, the queen never makes the first move. And think about it. Go play chess. It is impossible for the queen to make the first move. A pawn, friend zone guy, has to move out of the way so that the queen can make her first move. She's got to sacrifice her friend zone guy before she can cross the border. You're looking at knights in shining armor going out of their way for her first, rooks going out of their way for her first. All of her pawns are going out of their way for her, sacrificing themselves before she gets out onto the battlefield and start kicking some ass. But even in chess, the queen is protecting the king. Now, why the fuck can we play a board game where the queen protects the king, But in our reality, in our day-to-day operations, in our day-to-day relationships, the girlfriend don't look after the boyfriend. The wife doesn't look after the husband. She feels like all she has to do is look cute and sleep with the man. But in chess, if all the queen did was look cute, the king would get conquered. Which is why in relationships, you get conquered. And typically you get conquered by another queen. And you don't understand what happened. Because the woman on the other side was willing to do the stuff that you're not willing to do. So since we already understand that Project 2025 is going out and the whole country's about to change, ain't nobody gonna like it once it starts happening, but I told you so is about to be I told you so. And once it all irons itself out, you're gonna see C corporation style. Y'all gonna have to find a way to make money make for you. But in addition to that, you're gonna be looking at a situation where y'all are gonna have to band together and work with each other. This isn't going to be a situation. Women can be more effective with leading from the rear, because if you stand back and watch the man fail, you want to get in there and try to help him to the best of your ability. But as you watch the man fail, if you're looking at what's causing him to fail, and then you fix that, you can go in right behind him and succeed. It's a lot like if you're playing a video game, your partner goes in, they lose. They tell you what went wrong when they lost. You go in there and you try to do something different. It's a lot like back in college. Y'all had an online test. It was you and 2 or 3 other people. You let one other person take the test first and see what answers they got wrong, and then you take the test and see if you get different results based on the answer that they got wrong. You pick different answers, and so forth until somebody gets an A. Yeah, teamwork. Leading from the rear sometimes means that you sit back and you watch what other people do. You don't even have to delegate. But if you're not telling nobody nothing, you're just watching what's going on, and you see that the car ain't got no gas in it, you can just put money aside to put gas in the car. You can put the gas can in the trunk of the car, so when you run out of gas, if you still got gas with you, you can just redirect the journey to stop at a gas station and gas up the car. You don't have to make a big stink about the fact that the car ran out of gas. You could just circumvent the fact that the car ran out of gas. If you are driving the car, you look at the gas gauge. But if you're not driving the car, guess what you're looking at while you're plugging in your seatbelt? Hold on, I'm gonna help you out with that. You reach for your seatbelt. While you're here, you are looking at the dashboard, and you are no matter what kind of make and model you have, you are looking at the fuel gauge while you're clicking your seatbelt in. So even if it's not your car, you know how much gas is in the car. And if you click your seatbelt one time, you can see it. You can see the gas gauge. So you should not be in a situation where you ran out of gas, because you should have caught that. Even if they didn't. Hey, let's stop by the gas station real quick, top off the car. My treat. There you go. Ladies, you fixed the problem. Now the car don't run out of gas. We have to start being more selfless in our relationships and stop being so selfish. And men, we have to stop being so tunnel vision towards sex as the goal and start valuing ourselves as men as the man, and the man's resources is the prize for the woman, and then stand on non-negotiable expectations for behavior where we're recognizing that she will respect and appreciate and value the man in order to be able to spend the money that the man makes. That's pretty much where we got to go with that, because if she's not capable of doing that, if she's not capable of being an assistant, capable of being an asset, capable of aiding the man in making more money for himself, or assisting a man in spending less money so that he has more money to spend on her, then she's only a liability. And since we already understand that, at least in the United States, if not in other countries of the world, where if the woman divorces the man, she gets half of the man's resources. If you're not building a divorce trust so that when she leaves, all she gets is that trust, then it is what it is. But if you're gonna get involved with these females, you're gonna get married and put yourself at risk of losing half of your estate, you might as well have one of them ironclad prenups where everything, including the extra women, is written into this contract. That the only way that she is liable to get compensation from you on this actionable prenup is if you leave her for no rational explanation or reasonable or viable explanation. So you just left for the sake of leaving, then she gets paid. But if she walk out on you because it's Sunday and you're wearing green socks, she ain't getting shit. But with the way the laws are right now, if you don't have that type of prenup, you're going to be in a position where it's not going to work for you. This is the callback that we're supposed to be getting from T-Mobile. So let's get that going. How you doing? Let's go ahead and grab this. Maybe we have to start this business meeting. Yep. Yeah. Yes, sir. So they're still working on it. Yeah, you did. I just want to let you know that we're doing the final move. We'll be calling back and regarding this would be what we're still just waiting on response. Mm-hmm. So it still will be me following up on this ticket resolved. Okay, so you do not have do you have any notes that are telling you what happened with the gateway or the internet service? That's the part that we're still working on. I just notes. Okay. So is there a different layer that they can put me in? Because that would work. The one reference is the low band. Could they put me in like a high band? Well, it wouldn't be putting you on the band necessarily. It would be Okay. So maybe reconfiguring it might increase the speed, but it is supposed to be operating off of 5G speed, right? The strongest available connection. At this point, in most places, it's 5G, but in some areas, 4G is still strong. So if I'm in a dominantly 4G location, it probably would be more beneficial to manually switch me over to a higher speed 4G network than the unstable 5G network. Yeah. Okay. The only thing is we can't we don't broadcasting all be done on the gateway itself. Oh yeah, I understand it because you switch your cell phone from 5G to 4 LTE or just LTE or the 3G because some cell phones still have the 3G option on it, but that is not something that's manually done externally from my end on this particular device because had that been an option, I would have done that first. Correct. So that's what they're looking at based on the notes here. Okay. They have much more visibility than I do, so they're definitely approaching this with a more bigger picture in mind. Okay. But we'll have to wait on their response here. Typically, again, it's a little bit later. Calling first thing in the morning. Okay. Oh, okay. So We just got 2.5 more days left then, because the situation's been on for a while. But this ticket just was 4 hours ago, so we should have it resolved by Monday.
I would say by tomorrow, most likely. Because tomorrow, first thing on my list.
Okay.
But again, my team will probably have already reached out. But I'm following.
Oh yeah, I greatly appreciate that, because we got to figure out what's going on, because there is no way that I have to continue hotspotting off of the cell phone, because I'm actually in the meeting right now. The few hundred people are watching me talk about my internet, because the meeting started 8 Central and it is 10 Central. And we actually started 30 minutes late because we were waiting on the call at 8 and the call didn't come in. So we started at 8:30. So the meeting's carrying over till 10 because the meeting was supposed to end at 9:20, but we started 30 minutes late.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a massive problem too, because we had a 35-minute upload or download situation, and you understand that we're doing 50 megabytes of download, so that sucked too.
Okay. Let me notate that here too. I'm gonna take it because they are actively commenting on this.
Yeah, that's something that I'm getting the upload and download speeds because I'm hotspotting from the cell phone, because the gateway is not working. So the gateway still doesn't work at all, doesn't provide any service at all. So the network is specifically coming from the cell phone, and it is got actually the last speed test that I ran is still sitting here on the screen. 35.45 download and 15.76 upload, and that was 15 minutes before we started the conference call. And that's the best performance I've had since Saturday. It's been a few weeks, so I'm starting to get used to it. I'm rotating out phones. I don't have another choice because I have to work, and we have to start these conference calls at the same time every day of the week, 7 days a week. So there's a 2 to 3 hour conference call that has to happen every night, and it's supposed to start at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific, and we got to start late because we're hotspotting from cell phones.
Okay. Well, yes. So that being said, I'm just going to update this here for you. All the details.
Awesome. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, again, I will be following up with you tomorrow. And that's regardless of the ticket status. I just want you to be in the loop with exactly what's going on.
Okay. Oh, make it a midday call would be good. That way I won't be in the middle of something else, and I'll be able to communicate with you so that you won't miss my communication.
Okay. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Great.
First thing on my list.
Great. 1 o'clock Eastern, noon Central, I will be available. Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. We have next step here. And with that being said, definitely just look out for my follow-up tomorrow afternoon.
Yes, sir. Well, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Bye-bye. So as you guys see, we're actively working on trying to get the internet situation improved. They interrupted a live broadcast with they're calling us about the internet service that's down because we're hotspotting from cell phones trying to make this situation work. I told y'all that we're archaic in this situation. I'm trying to make the situation work. I told y'all that I'm coming up live every night of the week. I'm going to be here. I might be a little late every now and again, but every night you're going to see me in here, And typically as no later than about 8:20. This time I think we started at like 8:30, and we literally try to go a minimum an hour, and then I end up going an hour and a half, maybe a little bit longer, just to make sure that for those of you that get here late, you guys can dive in and see what's going on the podcast, and still be able to enjoy some of the conversation, and maybe even put your 2 cents into the conversation. So we strongly encourage you guys to always make sure that you like and subscribe. Always try to get you guys to join the membership, because joining the membership helps pay for the podcast, and helping to pay for the podcast helps us get better internet service. We can improve, buy more expensive modems, get a bigger server or something like that, better connectivity with the laptop, buy a bigger laptop, get terabyte upload download speeds where we got better frame rates, all of these things that we could do to make the show better for you guys. If we can get our 10,000 subscribers on TikTok, and we can get our stream key, and then we can put everybody on StreamYard, and then everybody's looking at the same screen instead of us having picture in picture on one side and just a picture on the other side. There's a lot of things that we're trying to work out, but small podcast building our way up. We got about 13,500 subscribers right now, so we're still pretty small. You think that's a lot of people, but it's not a lot of people when the average mid-level podcaster has over 100,000 subscribers, and some of the ones that's been doing this for a long time has a few million followers. And when those guys go live, like, my viewership goes down. Because when a podcast with 1 million views gets on it, with 1% of the people that subscribe to it jump onto that podcast is going viral, because they have a few 100,000 people on that podcast rotating out comments and everything to that effect. So that show is going viral, which redirects the algorithm to send all of the people that are online to that particular podcast, instead of the small podcast that might have 3 to 5% of its followers watching the podcast. But since there's like less than 20,000 following, you're not going to get but 500 people coming to the podcast, if that. And 500 people in comparison to 150,000 people, is the traffic isn't always there. So we try to build ourselves up. And when we start talking about building ourselves up, that's why we talk about trying to find women that we can get into relationships with that can build us up as well, because men will build up women. Men will invest in a woman's career. Men will invest in women's education, and men will invest in a woman's capabilities to put effort into that man. But we don't see that reciprocation from a lot of the women. Doesn't mean that women don't do it. There are some women that do it, but more often than not, 90% of the time, while we're looking at women that want to be the boss without paying the cost to be the boss, we have to recognize that these particular women claim that they're doing so much for the man, but when you ask them exactly how much more successful was the man because he met her than what he was before he met her. And most women will say that the man is in the same position that he was when he met her, that he was when she left him, or he's in a worse position after she left him than what he was when she met him. In either situation, it is a parasitic scenario, because the man's life did not improve because of her. It is what it is. If you take a woman off of the sidewalk and give her a house, she's no longer homeless. If you take a woman off the sidewalk, give her a house, and then she makes life easier for you to be able to be successful, and you're able to share your success with her, your life is easier. So you're benefiting from her presence. You're not using her, you're benefiting from her. You take a woman from an Eastern country, because I'm not going to say third world country, but yeah, you take her from a third world country, bring her to America, you give her a better life, and then she aids you in having a better life. So because your life is better, because she's in it, you're able to appreciate her more, because she is doing more for you that you was not capable of doing for yourself, which gives you the ability to do more for her that that she wasn't able to do for herself before she met you. And that's when you realize that you're benefiting each other in your relationship, because if her life has improved because she has him, and his life has improved because he has her, they're an asset to one another. It's a symbiotic relationship. But when we're dealing with the feminine, overly toxic masculinity, where she's got to benefit from him by any means necessary, and she could give two shits about whether or not he benefits from her. That is not a beneficial relationship for the man. And the man has the most to lose about that, because even if he swallows his pride and tries to make the relationship work, after a period of time, the woman earns entitlement to the man's resources, like having shares in a stock because you were standing in front of the stock long enough to claim that stock. And at the end of the day, while she has done nothing to deserve that, she will be entitled to it, because the archaic laws in the United States dictate that back in the day, when women did not have jobs and women did not have rights and women did not have all of these benefits and resources that have been put in place to make women equal to men, the women had the disadvantage, and the equalizer was the archaic laws to allow those women to have resources and benefits so that they would not have to struggle and suffer after they got away from their man. And they typically got away from their man when a man abandoned a relationship or was abusive or did not treat her right or went off to war and died and did not leave anything for her to take care of herself, where the archaic laws were back then designed to aid the woman in getting back on her feet or getting on her feet and recovering from the loss of the relationship and the dedication that she put into that relationship. Because back in those days, the women actually worked in a relationship. Part of your job was a relationship. Now, in modern times, that's not the case. There are so many benefits for the women in our modern society because of the imbalance back in the 40s and 30s and 20s in the 1900s. And now those benefits in a combination with the archaic divorce laws is going to turn marriage into a business where the women profit off of investing their time into lingering in a relationship long enough for them to get a divorce and then be entitled to half of the estate. And a woman can be divorced 4 times to become a millionaire, where a man could get divorced 4 times to become homeless because he's got to pay child support to 4 different women. But just because he marries does not mean that he does not have to pay the first wife alimony. He still got to pay the alimony. If she's awarded alimony, he still got to pay the first wife alimony. He still got to pay the second wife alimony. He still got to pay the third wife child support and alimony. There is no scenario where, unless he loses his job and can't afford to pay for all that stuff, that he's not going to be financially obligated to compensate for each divorce that he gets into. So that means that a man has to really look at his resources, because if you get married 4 times, you're splitting your money 5 ways. In that situation, why don't you just have 5 girlfriends at the same time? You're still splitting your money 5 ways, but at least you're satisfied. Because between the 5 women, what one woman won't do, another one would. Hopefully, if you stack them up correctly, like trade bots, then you should be able to benefit from at least 1/5 of the relationship 100% of the time. And either way it goes, you're still splitting your money 5 ways. But why be court ordered to give half of your estate away when you can have transactional engagements where all 5 of them are catering to you the way you need them to cater to you, so that they will be worth you giving your money to them? We have to find other ways to make this transactional dating game come to life where it benefits for us. But until we do, I'm going to be telling you guys that as the prize, we have to vet heavily. Because when I start talking to y'all, I do believe next week, when we're going to be talking about the hustle game and how the dark side of the hustle game is going to be making it hard for us in our dating choices, you're going to come to understand that if you forever grinding at the stone trying to make ends meet, that you're going to be in a situation where you're not necessarily going to benefit and or improve yourself, or you're going to burn yourself out because you're trying so hard to get a buck. You're working so hard that you're ultimately putting in twice as much work to get the money, because the money is tight. The money is hard to come by. And yeah, you got the money, but if it take you 20 hours to get you $100, you're working at $5 an hour. You know, if you think that because you're getting $25 an hour average during active time, but you still have a 5 or 10 hour standby time, if you're putting in 15 hours to get that $150 a day, even if you're making $25 an hour when you're active, because you sat there for 15 hours, you average $10 an hour. You're not making a lot of money. The hustle game is not worth it if you're not making more money than living wage, which means you have to stop and look at how much does it cost to perform these tasks, and look at some of the small investments, some of the side hustles, and you have to look at how much you're getting out of it versus how much money you have to pay into it to make it pay you the amount of money that you're getting. Because you have to subtract your expenses from your profit so that you can determine what your real profit is. If you're making $125 a day off of Uber, but you're spending $30 a day on gas, you're not making $125 a day on Uber. You're making what? $95 a day. And if you're making $95 a day, when you're thinking that, oh, well, I can make $150 in 10 hours, I'm making $15 an hour. Well, once you take the cost of gas out, you're making $9.75 an hour. And if you got to change your oil once a month and you got to spend $200 on the oil, where you're ultimately paying $25 a week on oil, so you're taking about an average of $5 a day out of your daily pay. You're taking out the $35 for gas and the $5 extra for your oil change on average, which is taking $40 out. So if you made $125 out of the day, and you got to take $40 out of that $125, you're not making $150. You're making $850, $875 now. So are you really balling out of control? And then think about it, because that's a 1099 job. It's not taking money out on taxes for you. And since it's not taking money out on taxes for you, you got to pay Uncle Sam. You're going to have to give Uncle Sam, at least with the new tax brackets, you're going to be giving them 15% until you make $160,000. So you're taking $15 out of every $100 that you make out of your pocket. So you started off with $125. So you know they're going to take at least $20 or $30 out for taxes out of that $125, because it's $15 for every $15 for every $100. So you know that you're going to be spending at least close to $20 in taxes, plus the $40 for services on the car. That's $60 coming out of your $125. So you were really actually only making $6.50 an hour doing that hustle, when you really look at it. Now, if you hustling in a way where you've got limitless quantity of capital coming in, or the capability to make limitless quantity of capital, you just got to put you a little bit of a grind to the stone, just long enough for you to get that money in. You have to look at how you're struggling now so that you're doing good later, because you're going to be looking at $100, $200 an hour, $50, $60 an hour, because your hustle game was strong enough to increase revenue to a magnitude where you're making more money than what you're spending, which is a reimbursement of all those times where you wasn't making enough money. But if you're looking at, you're able to crunch those numbers and you're like, okay, well, if I can do this and I can do this, I can make enough money to go and buy me a more fuel efficient car, so I don't have to spend as much money on gas. Give me an electric car. My fuel is free. Give me an electric car. I don't have to pay for the maintenance. I just saved $40 because I don't have to pay for that part of a gas car, because I don't have to deal with that on an electric car. You know, these are the things that you think about. And if you got a female that's going to sit there and crunch those numbers on the side, that's when you're leading from the rear. She could tell you, well, honey, you don't got to buy that Tesla X model. You can buy the Y model because it's on discount. You don't have to go and get a Tesla. You can go get you a Chevy Volt or a Chevy Bolt or a Nissan Leaf, or whatever model the BMW is offering, and get you one that's under $20,000, where your car note is going to be $250 a month, and you have no maintenance bill. And the car will be able to take you wherever you need to go for at least 200 miles out of the day. And if you're driving 100 miles a day, you're doing 10 hours a day anyway. So you don't really need to have more than 300 miles on your vehicle and commute with an electric vehicle. You just got to find somewhere to pull over and stop and take a break from your job and charge your car back up and get you some lunch and then get back to work. But either way it goes, you try to figure out a way to make your money make money for you. And if she's helping you find ways to make your money make money for you, then you're in a better position to be able to tackle all of your issues and make sure that everything is copacetic for you. Because if she's problem solving while you're problem solving, even if y'all are working on the same problem from two different ends, y'all are both coming up with solutions. So if his problem doesn't work, if his solution doesn't work, her solution will come into effect. And if her solution doesn't work, he's got a backup plan. and y'all will be able to figure out a way where the bottom's not going to fall out of the barrel because y'all have a net of solutions between the two of y'all. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate y'all coming to the show tonight. Thank y'all very much. We're going to go ahead and sign out of TikTok first. Ladies, I'm always asking y'all on a daily basis, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you to make it make sense. So ladies, make it make sense. And then for the rest of y'all that still follow me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube, I want to thank y'all for coming to the show because your support is always great support. As you see, I touched base with those guys and I tried to get them up there because I told y'all we're going to work on this internet thing until we get the internet right. And then when we're back to our 5G high speeds, we will be able to see, because we're actually utilizing the T-Mobile network. So we'll be able to see exactly how they improve the quality of their product, because since the modem keep hurting, the modem keep defecting, the one that I originally owned wasn't all that fast, but at least it was dependable. The new modem they upgraded me to, where I spend more money, I'm supposed to get more service, and not getting as much service, and I'm spending more money. So they gave me a $40 credit for the full month's service for the internet, when they should have gave me a full credit on the whole phone bill. But you know, the guy tells me, oh well, you know, we don't want you to get used to not using your internet. Well, shit, you know, the internet worked really good for about 2 weeks out of the last 2 months. So I've been using my cell phone outside of that because the internet's down. So what do you want me to do, buddy? You know, I'm getting used to it. I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna do less work. I'm gonna unplug my cell phones. I'm not gonna use them, and then I'm gonna save up on my internet service, and then I'm gonna plug it into one of the devices that has the lowest data usage on it, and then stream off of that until something changes. Because if I got to keep streaming off these cell phones, I might as well just turn off the home internet system, because you know, it's not doing any good for me. So I'll keep you guys up to date about that. They're going to call me tomorrow, tell me what ideas that they have. Then they're going to mail me another one. So I got to hook that one up on probably Monday or Tuesday. If it gets shipped on a weekend, I'll be enthusiastic. But since they put the order in after 5 o'clock, it probably won't get shipped out till tomorrow. And it's going to be a 2-day shipping, and they don't really do much delivery on Sunday. So probably not going to get the product till Monday, probably Tuesday at the latest. So sometime next week, I'll be able to hook up the device. But in the meantime, I've got a broken modem that, you know, they credit me on the last 30 days of service. So, you know, my phone bill went down by $40. Woo. Company phone bill, $350. and so I can stream for y'all right now. Tell me this podcast is free. Nah, I told y'all I'm spending almost $1,000 a month. So I'm going to tell y'all thank you very much. I really appreciate y'all coming to the show. I want to see y'all tomorrow night. We got more things to come, and things just get better as time goes on. And if you got time, go over to YouTube and check out some of the new clips that we have. Actually been utilizing a software called Opus Clips to help me with editing videos. So probably going to see me start promoting them depending on the quality of the videos. If you guys are watching those videos more highlights and more key moments from the show than the ones that I was selecting, you guys might enjoy those a lot better. We got 1 to 5 minute videos between the shorts and the long form videos over there. So I just recommend that you guys have time to go over there and go take a look at a few of them, see what you think. Throw some responses in the comments if you think those longs and shorts are better produced than the ones that I used to produce. You know, let me know. Gives me a direction as to editing styles. Make sure that the highlights that you want to see are being shown, and that'll aid with the capabilities of bringing in more higher quality stuff. Otherwise, all I can say is thank you for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'm going to see you tomorrow night.